I mean, I just get this charge every time I step on stage.
There are so many people who love this brand. There are even people in the world who get tattoos of the logo on their legs. For example. No, totally kidding, no. Can you imagine? Absolutely not. I would no longer be married. No. But people do that.
To be able to trot around the world and make other people feel things or ask big questions, I mean, like, it's addicting. It's the best job in the world.
So warm round of applause for Mr. Jay Acunzo.
Now, what most of us in marketing picture when we hear those phrases, creative and new, is the wide open field. Total creative freedom. Let it soak in, people. We finally have it. Stand back. I have to be creative and new. You said so. I'm going to get more budget, more team, more time. I'm going to hire 7 agencies and 17 freelancers. I'm going to put this project on every social network known to man. I'm going to write this on the sky. But that's not what Camille did.
One of the things I pride myself in is telling great stories. And I don't mean case studies. I mean, there's a conflict, there's a human protagonist, something is at stake, and you want to see what happens next.
Now, internally, the team was debating a crucial question if you're going to be a true American around Memorial Day. Is the hot dog a sandwich? Crucial. Show of hands. Is the hot dog a sandwich? Show of hands for yes. Show of hands for no. Interesting. Let's see what unfolds. Most of you said no. So as Memorial Day weekend approached, they tweeted out a blog post and declared this: have a great Memorial Day weekend. The hot dog is a sandwich. And the internet lost its mind.
And so often when we get great stories, it opens us up to new possibilities.
Year over year, they grew their social media impressions 6,000%. And their press mentions 7,000% because who is writing about the dictionary in the press? Well, it turns out today it's everybody. BuzzFeed, The Washington Post, The New York Times, Vice, Vox, Mike, Slate, NBC, Vogue? Vogue. Vogue. You guys, the dictionary is literally in vogue. That was too punny.
Now that I have that laugh, I can then present a point, because you're listening and open, that can affect your work. And I think the laughter combined with the introspection makes for a powerful moment.
We live in an era full of advice for how to do our work. Endless amounts of conventional thinking surrounds us, telling us exactly what to do, and we can access it in an instant. And so can everyone else.
There's a lot of commodity stuff, there's a lot of average stuff, a lot of copycat thinking. I want more people to think for themselves.
It has never been easier to be average. If we don't have an idea or an answer, we can find and follow everyone else's.
What I want for people is they walk away trying to be an exception from all the noise.
But Mike's not trying to build an average company. Mike's trying to do something exceptional. Mike's trying to be the exception.
I think of myself like somebody who makes compasses. Most people are handing out maps with their directions drawn on it, and they're saying, look, go this way, I've gone this way, or I think you should go this way. It's a red line to an X. And I want to hand out compasses so that in any scenario, somebody can walk into that situation, get their bearings, figure out their true north, and decide how they're going to go from there.
We have got to stop obsessing over everyone else's right answers for us and instead ask ourselves the right questions.
Ultimately, I want people to trust their intuition. That's what I want.
In an era overrun with experts, it's the process of thinking for yourself. And so if it feels like a leap to do something better, if it feels like this giant risky jump we have to make to trust our intuition, how do we make it?
Unthinkable is a narrative style podcast that I kind of use as my lab. I get to experiment with different stories and test out different ideas and actually work together with an audience that responds and gives me feedback. So in that way, it's kind of this sneaky advantage that I have to put together a great speech. I don't consider myself a guru. I hate that term. And I hate that other people consider themselves gurus. I consider myself a guide. You know, as a podcast host, as a perfect example, my job as a host is not to be the expert. My job is to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and point out things, make sure you don't miss them, and walk with you on the journey. And that is the same exact role that I take with me onto a stage.
So yeah, from the outside looking in, it's insanity what Mike chose to do. Until you understand his context, his aspiration for his work.
When I first started speaking, I'd use all these different ways to see if my speech went well. I would see how many people lined up afterwards. I would check all the tweets. And then as I started to speak more, I would get these emails from people who would say like, hey, you probably don't remember, you spoke at this event a while ago and we talked about this. And this is this thing that I launched because of your speech. And so it's when it's actually affecting people's work, not in the room, not the next day, but 6 months, 12 months, 3 years later, I think that's when I've had an impact. Good work takes time to create. There is not one silver bullet that's going to fix things overnight, but if you aspire to create really great work and you can somehow start to achieve that, I can think of no better result of a speech. I mean, I literally get to observe things happening in the world, try to make sense of them, and really spend a lot of time with them in a way that a lot of people don't get to, and package them together with moving stories or funny stories or stories that I love and others love. And that's my job. I mean, that's incredible. How can you not be anything but grateful all the time?
It has never been easier to be average. So let's be something else. Be the exception. Thank you very much.